Hey everybody. This is Cosmic, and once again, we're at the 2 hour UTC time period, and that can only mean one thing as far as I'm concerned. That means it's time for Astronomy Daily Live. So come on in, uh, have a seat around the circle, and we'll talk astronomy for an hour or so, something like that. Got my sort of usual drink of choice tonight. Yeah, I went with the hydrogen hydroxide tonight again, just to keep it nice and calm. So cheers. So come gather around, circle of friends for sure, all passionate about a single but very large topic and area, and that is astronomy. So I'm just going to get myself started here. I load up my chat over here on my Linux machine, which I'm going to be doing right now. And then over on my smartphone, if I can push the buttons, I'll call up the stream itself. And I'm going to pop the chat out so I can get rid of that video stream, go back to something that isn't going to freeze my machine like last night. Hate that. My network's been kind of slow all day. It's just how it goes. It's one of those first world problems that just All right, there I am live. I'm going to check the audio really quick. All right, cool. We're on. Awesome. Well, I hope everybody's doing good tonight so far. Everything's good here. The little wildfire that we were worrying about yesterday kind of petered out today. I guess it's still burning, and we still have to keep an eye on things. But at least at the moment, everything looks okay. So yeah, this is Astronomy Daily Live every single day at 2 hours UTC. Uh, a bunch of us gather together and speak about our passion, which is astronomy. So, hope everybody's doing good. I'll give everyone a few minutes to get in and get settled in. If if you've just sort of come across this channel for the first time and you're someone in the future who hasn't seen this live chat yet, um, I would appreciate a subscribe. And I think you can, once you subscribe, you can set notifications so you can be told when this live stream happens. As I said, it happens every day at 2 hours UTC, but you're going to have to figure out what that time is for you locally. And this is, it's sort of a little obstacle or test that you have to uh, get past. The concept of time in any kind of astronomical thing is really important, and so really the sooner if you're new to this, the sooner that you have a relatively decent understanding of the different ways that time is measured and understood, the better. So time is one of those basic concepts that it's pretty important at you know pretty much at any level. You should have a pretty good understanding of how time is measured. So yeah, figure that out for yourself. I know you can do it. And if you don't want to and want to cheat, set the notifications, and YouTube will tell you when I go live, and then you don't have to work it out, and you'll be able to see exactly when that is. So whichever way you want to do it is fine by me. It's not really a cheat. It's just a different way of getting the same kind of information. So I don't care which way you do it. Um, you learn things both ways. Now, where I'm located on this planet, I'm in southeastern Arizona in the United States, and I am always on Mountain Standard Time, which means I am 7 hours behind uh, Universal Time, UTC, Coordinated Universal Time. So I'm always 7 hours behind. So when it's 2 hours UTC on the 12th of February, it's actually 7 p.m. on the 11th of February. So yeah, that's just one of the many uh, things about time that you just sort of have to grasp and get your head around. And once you start working on that a little bit, thinking about it, it's not so tough. It's not so tough. So yeah. So hope everybody's doing good tonight so far. Everything, as I said, is good here. Um, so this live stream is just uh, a casual, yet I hope relatively high quality um, live stream, all about the science of astronomy. Um, Everyone is welcome here. So if you're new to astronomy, or you've been an amateur for a while, or if you've advanced and are doing some pretty neat stuff, or if you're a pro, you are welcome in here. And yeah, come on in. We like to talk about all kinds of different things astronomical. It doesn't have to be what I want to talk about at all. If you guys come into the circle, hey there, No Till Tom. How's everything going? Hope everything's well with you. Peace, peace. Um, so yeah, whether you're new or a pro, there is a seat for you in this circle of friends who just want to sit around for a while um, and talk astronomy. Maybe you don't have anybody else around that really cares as much as you do, doesn't really understand what you're doing or what you're talking about. Well, this is a cool place to just um, throw ideas around, ask some questions if you want. Just have sort of a basic discussion about all things astronomical. So, yeah, we can get into Q&A. I certainly reserve the right to also ask things, because man, I, I, I don't know anything, right? There's a few things I know, a few things I've experienced, but as a scientist, I will never, ever, ever claim to know very much at all. Yeah, I, I know that I don't know a lot, and even more so, I don't know what I don't know, and that's most of it. so, so yeah, as a scientist, we go through a process which is called the scientific method. And through that process, which is a fractal process, right? The output of that feeds back into the input, and it just goes around and around and around. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I have to apologize. I'm going to be a little bit tired tonight. So, don't know why. Just feeling a little, a little worn out. I have no idea why. It comes and goes. So, always like to take some time out, though, spend a few minutes with some friends talking astronomy. So, We can do Q&A. We can talk about telescopes. We can talk about gear. We can talk about cameras, CCDs, um, any other kind of instrumentation, photometers, spectrometers, polarimeters, uh, any of those uh, gadgets that allow us, to collect various pieces of data about the objects that we are observing. We can talk about the analysis of data and how that's done, and what astronomers do. Uh, you know, what would a typical astronomer do on sort of a typical day or a typical week? We can talk about observing runs and how that's done. I've done that a little bit in the past. Um, Certainly not uh, going to repeat those kinds of things every single day, but yeah, it's nice to repeat things from time to time. I'm going to be actually, if I get a chance, I'm going to do a little bit of repeating and not slouching uh, tonight. I'm going to be looking maybe at different kinds of star charts, which I think for at least the amateurs and the newbies uh, will maybe you'll gain a little bit more understanding and definitely an appreciation for having charts. So we can get into that at some point. We can talk about astro-art, so taking astronomical data or astronomical concepts and turning them into either visual art or audio art, anything like that. I do both of those things. Let's see, we can, let me pull up my list here because still after after all this time, still don't have this spiel down. Yeah, so we can talk about different projects, um, different observatories, different kinds of observatories, where they are located. I'm lucky enough to be in a place that's pretty much surrounded by some pretty major observatories. I have Mount Lemmon and Mount Bigelow, which is part of the Catalina Sky Survey, and I think it's called the Mount Lemmon Sky Center. Doing some pretty cool stuff up there. Of course, there's Kitt Peak. There is Mount Hopkins that has the MMT, which isn't a multiple mirror telescope anymore. It's a single mirror, 6.5 meters across. Uh, and then we have Mount Graham, which has currently, I think, 3 telescopes on it: the LBT, the Large Binocular Telescope, and this is one of the mirrors in that guy. It's 8.4 meters across, and there are 2 of those in that. There is the submillimeter telescope, and there is the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope. So even the Jesuits are doing the astronomy thing, and the Jesuits are known, for doing scientific and scholarly work. So they are doing their thing, looking at the universe, and I think that's awesome. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's really really cool to be surrounded by some major observatories. The LBT is the largest optical telescope in the world. So and it's situated just due north of me. So I see that every single day. It's just this big, bright white eyesore up in these otherwise beautiful, pristine mountains. so, so it's awesome. It's awesome to see that, and yeah, maybe at some point I'll get back up there to do some work. Who knows? Who knows? I'm pretty satisfied with the stuff that I have. I've got, in terms of the research I'm doing, uh, I sort of shape it around uh, what I have on hand. I've got this scope, which is a Celestron Next Star, or I think it's called the Next Star 8SE, and it's an 8-inch reflector. And I've got a CCD camera that I can put right down there, so I can collect pretty much any kind of data I want. I can go pretty faint, with a long exposure. Yeah, I can get down to 14th or 15th magnitude pretty easily, depending on what I'm doing. And then all the computing power that I need, at least at the moment, I've already got. So yeah, I'm pretty much set. Pretty much set. Pretty happy with that. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Yeah, so this is a discussion amongst friends. Pretty much any kind of astronomical topic that you want to talk about, I'm more than happy to discuss. Just cleaning up the view a little bit here, getting nice and straight. Yeah. All right, well, cool. So, yeah, get away from the TV for a while and the news, and gather together with some friends, and you talk about a topic that we all are passionate about. Just for a while. This lasts about an hour, hourish or so. It usually goes over at least a little bit, because I just blab and blab and blab about astronomy. I can do that all day and all night. Luckily, you only get to hear about an hour of it every day. So yeah, but it's constantly going off in my head. So I thought that I would talk a little bit more, get a little bit more in depth with finder charts. So finder charts or atlases um, are uh, maps. They're they're just like maps of the ground, but in this case, they're maps of the sky. So they just show the positions of stars and other non-stellar objects, like clusters and galaxies and nebulae, um, binary stars, anything astronomical worth observing, you can usually find in a star chart or an atlas of some sort. And there are now some apps that allow you to, point your phone up in the sky, and it identifies which stars are which. Those are really, really cool if you're really, really new and are still, just learning the constellations and all of that. I suppose that's a relatively good step. But what I did, and I did this really, really early, um, is I just dove right in and found some charts um, that were going to keep me satisfied for quite a while. And so I did that. And the first charts that I ever got, I actually have them still up on this shelf, but I got those when I want to say I was like 11 or 12, something like that. So that was like 38 years ago, and I still have the same charts, but they're in really, really rough shape. So I don't really even like to handle them anymore because they're really, really beat up. But uh, once I got into the university, I opted to get another version of those same charts, but this time in sort of a bound version. So these this is these are the charts that I used as a kid and as an adult, and I still use these today. This is the Sky Atlas 2000. You can still get these. They're still published, but they are 26 charts that cover the entire sky. So from the North Pole down to the South Pole. And it's going to be pretty hard to show you a lot of these things. But as I said, these charts are simply just maps, okay, maps of the sky. And the only thing that you really have to do, and it takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of effort, is you have to be able to sort of translate, right, what you're seeing on the chart with what you're seeing in the sky. Because these charts show all the stars down to about eighth magnitude or so. Well, you can only see, I mean, in a really, really dark site, you can only see to about sixth magnitude. So you're not going to be able to see every single star, at least with the naked eye, on these charts. When you look up, you're only going to be able to see the brighter ones. And the way that they designate brighter ones, this is going to be really hard to hold up, is by they make each of the stars a black dot, right? A little round black dot. And the brighter the star, the larger the black dot. So a big black dot means it's a bright star, and a small black dot means it's a faint star. And I guess I'm going to try to hold this up. Yeah, it's not incredibly great. There, hold this way up here, back up a little bit. Maybe if you look over here, maybe you can see, it's really, really hard. Maybe there you can see the constellation of Cassiopeia. Pretty hard to see. Just trying to give you little examples. So that's sort of the hardest thing when using charts, is to be able to translate what you see on the chart with what you see in the sky. And it's the same kind of translation that you have to make when you look at like a road map, right? A road map, those are the lines, the spacing between those lines might be a mile, right? But you know that. So you have to do exactly the same thing for sky charts. Exactly the same thing. You have to just learn through some practice to take what you're seeing on the chart and translate it up into the sky. Once you get that scaling, then you're on your way, and you can use these charts as a map. Now, a lot of telescopes, a lot of modern telescopes today have go-to computerized things. So once you align your telescope, and if you do it well enough, you can simply type in the coordinates that you want to go to, and it just goes there. Now, I highly recommend that you don't do that, especially if you want to learn how to navigate in the sky. And that's actually one of the problems with this scope, is that it doesn't have a clutch. So I have no way of manually moving this one around at all. So it's got to be plugged in, and I have to use the paddle in order to move it. And I don't much like that. I like to have that option of being able to sort of turn that off and unlock it and move it around myself, because I know for a fact that I am able to move much faster than I go to, much faster. So yeah, that comes with practice. That's all. Um, Cool. Hey, I've got my first uh, I've got my first whoops. I've got my first creep. I'm gonna try to take care of him. I don't know how. I don't know how. Let's see. Maybe. Ah, there it is. Uh, I'm gonna remove. Cool. Bless Keck. Bless you. You're the first. But see you later. Yay. Remove. Check that out. Oh, he's still there. Hey, you're going to go in timeout. There you go. 300 seconds. Don't turn blue. So yeah, I highly recommend that you resist the temptation to immediately turn on all the go-to stuff, and unless I mean, this is the cool thing about astronomy, right? Is that you can get in at any level that, that you want. So if you're not interested in uh, learning to navigate around the sky yourself, no problem at all. That is one of the cool things about these go-tos now, is that you can just type in the coordinates or type in a name, and it just and it's there. So that is very, very cool. But for me, um, part part of the joy of observing like this is sort of the hunt, right? Is being able to locate it on a chart and then being able to translate that up into the sky and be able to find it. And the best way to do that, if you're going to do a manual thing, is a technique called star hopping. And that is exactly what it implies. You you locate an object that you want to observe, and then you look at the star patterns around it. And you can start with a star, obviously, that you can see, and you point your scope there, and then you look at your chart and you say, okay, from that star, I can hop over to this star over here, and this group of stars over here that have a particular pattern, and then I can jump up to this star, and then to this one, and then the object that I'm interested in is right next to that one. So using a combination of naked eye, and if you have a finder scope that allows you to magnify just a little bit more, you'll you'll be able to see a 7th or 8th magnitude star in the dark, even through a finder scope, at least a 7th. Um, you should be able to get pretty close, and then you can offset from that last star that you hop to, you can offset to the object that you want to observe, and then you put your eye on the eyepiece and you start to look around. And if you sort of know what you're looking for in advance, if you're looking for some kind of an open cluster, then it's going to look a particular way. If you're looking for a globular cluster, it's going to look a different kind of way. If you're looking for a galaxy, it's going to also look completely different. If you're looking for any kind of nebula, like planetary nebula, that is going to look in a particular way. So with some practice, you'll be able to do this really, really well. And after a while, it gets pretty easy. Um, And I think it's fun, and it's a great way to learn the sky because it forces you to look at the sky and be able to navigate around instead of, you know, sort of doing it the easy way, punching it in and letting the machines do it all. Um, there's a lot of satisfaction in just doing the observation itself. So I'm not against that. I think we should do all of it, every single bit. So I fully encourage you to get some charts and do that. And as I said, Sky Atlas 2000 is sort of my atlas of choice. I also highly recommend that the charts be as large as you can possibly make them. As you can see, these are big. I mean, these are really big charts. So you can lay them out, you know, on a table or on the hood of your car or on the back of your car somewhere nearby. And yeah, you're going to have to walk back and forth between your scope and your charts. And you know, depending on the object that you're trying to observe, it might be hard. It might be easy. Who knows? Who knows? But it's a great way to learn. And when you finally get that object in your field of view, it's like, ah, there it is. There it is. And then you can make your observation, right? Whatever you're doing. If you're looking at a Messier object or like a Herschel object or pretty much anything, it's like, all right, now I can make my observation, do that, and move on to the next object. So it's very cool. So this is the one at least I have and have had for a long time. Um, sort of another one that's similar to that is this one called Uranometria 2000. And the only difference between these charts and the Sky Atlas 2000 charts is that these are much uh, smaller fields on each page. There's a lot more pages. How many pages are in here? Let's see. 259 charts. And these only go down to a declination of -6. So the whole, practically the whole southern hemisphere is not represented here. As you can see, I'm going to put this back. This is volume 1. I haven't bothered ever to get volume 2 because I'm up in the northern hemisphere, and although I can see pretty far south, I just I never got around to getting volume 2. So oh well. But these are pretty nice too. As I said, the only two differences between these charts and the Sky Atlas 2000 charts is that I think these go down to almost magnitude 10, and there's a lot more deep sky objects, those kinds of things. So just to give you an example of these guys look like. Back it up here a little bit, sort of see what's going on there. There's a chart on the bottom showing what's what. You can sort of see that the size of the dot means how bright it is. And there's different things on there. The vertical lines are your lines of right ascension, and the horizontal lines are your lines of declination. And that's That's sort of the longitude and latitude uh, in the sky. It's uh, just how astronomers measure things in the sky in terms of position. There's a right ascension and there's a declination. And we can get into that at some point. It's really the cool thing about having a daily show is that it's like, oh, I'll talk about that tomorrow or the next day or next week. Yeah. No pressure to try to cover everything here. If you have any specific questions, feel free to ask. So there are a few other charts, and I'm going to share my screen here. Always have to share the screen at least once in a show, in a live stream. Gee whiz. Going to go to infinity. I found this article. This is an old astronomy magazine article from like 2014. It says, choose the star atlas that's right for you. So they go through a few of them. And these charts, these kind of round sky charts that show the whole sky, those are pretty good if you're just getting into it and want to sort of learn the constellations. I never really found much use for those guys. There's magnitude 6 star atlas that is put out by um, Edmund Scientific. That's another one that I never, it just wasn't enough. Now, Norton's Star Atlas is sort of the first one, at least on this list, that's sort of a serious um, Star Atlas. Now, this Star Atlas was first published in 1910, so it's over 100 years old now, and Norton's is on the same level as the Sky Atlas 2000. So this one is also very, very awesome. It does show stars only down to 6.5, so it's pretty much just the stars that you can see with the naked eye, more or less. Um, Star Atlas I never really used. I guess this is the I guess Sky Atlas 2000 doesn't exist anymore. Now it's called the Cambridge Star Atlas 2000, and it looks exactly the same. The format is slightly different. Um, it does only show stars down to 6.5. There's 20 charts, it says. So that's pretty cool. I like that one. And I think that was it. Yeah. Oh, there's another page. Let's go to the next page here. Didn't bother to look at page 2. Let's see what's on page 2. Advanced star atlases. Here we go. Whoops. So the first advanced one is the 2-volume Uranometria, which I've got volume 1 of that one. Let's see, Uranometria. Oh, okay. So they're calling Sky Atlas 2000 an advanced one. So that's cool. 26 charts showing 81,312 single, multiple, and variable stars down to magnitude 8.5. 2,700 deep sky objects. So yeah, I think they're sort of saying that Sky Atlas 2000 is still one of the good ones. Now this one I've seen, but I've never used. Um, it's the Harold Bobroff uh, Astro Atlas, and yeah, can't say that I've ever used this one. It looks like yeah, there are different charts for different magnitude ranges, so that's kind of cool. It's really detailed. More than 2 million stars. Yeah, very cool. So yeah, it's sort of looking like uh, if you stick with Sky Atlas 2000, these guys, which is the one I have. Or if you want to get a little bit more detailed with like the uranometria, that would probably work as well. You can also make your own charts. There's different ways of doing that. Hey there, Uncle Bill. How is everything? Hope everything's good. Hey, I got my first uh, troll that I had to. I couldn't see how I could ban it, so I put it into timeout for 300 seconds. So yeah, I think that is definitely, you know, now um, uh, I've I've accomplished two goals, right? Two major live stream goals. One is to offend somebody, which I did the other day, and now I've got my first troll. So yeah, I have to figure out how to ban this troll, but yeah, I'll figure that out, I suppose. Let me see if I can. It says go to channel, report, remove, put user in timeout, hide user on this channel. Is that like banning him? Hide user on this channel, so hide him. The user's messages will be hidden. Yeah, I really feel as though I'm just moving up. Anyway, thanks for coming in, Uncle Bill. I'm talking about star charts, and I highly recommend anybody who is getting into astronomy or even has been doing astronomy for a while to get yourself a decent set of charts and don't necessarily rely on the go-to computerized telescopes and do some manual moving around. You learn the sky really, really well. And at least as far as I'm concerned, it's very, very satisfying when you finally, you've you've spent, you know, who knows how long trying to find this little faint galaxy thing. And it's supposed to be, according to the chart, it's supposed to be right there, right? And you hunt and hunt and hunt and hunt and hunt and you star hop and you think you're in the right place and you're looking around, you can't see it. It's like, oh, I'm looking in the wrong way. Yeah, it's a great exercise, and in the end, you are rewarded by having that object in the field of view of the telescope, so you can make your observation. So I think that's an awesome thing. Um, if you're just into observing and just want to look at stuff, definitely, definitely, definitely use all the go-to stuff. Use the technology that's available. It's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic. No matter what you want to do, just have fun, you know, whatever that means. So, if trying to find objects with charts is too much of a frustration, which it's going to be at the beginning, it's not easy. It's not easy. But, good stuff is like that. Uh, good stuff shouldn't necessarily be easy to get. So I recommend that for sure. Anyway, um, there are ways to generate your own sky atlas, which is a pretty good idea. But then you have to print it out, and preferably sort of on a large format. If you print it out on an 8.5 by 11, it's hard to pack a lot of information into such a small area. It's a good option, um, and there are free ones online. Um, so yeah, check those out for sure. I prefer, to have some kind of an atlas on hand that I can just um, um, either throw on a table next to the telescope or on the hood of the car, whatever it takes, and do some star hopping and observing that way. You can also, AAVSO has a chart maker of sorts, and AAVSO, as you can see, is the American Association of Variable Star Observers. And on their website, which is aavso.org, let me back up here. I'll just walk you through this whole thing here. As you can see, I was messing with this before. So you go to aavso.org, okay, and then you go over to observing, and then you go to variable star charts, and then to variable star plotter. Click on that, and if you know the name of the variable star that you are interested in observing, you can type that in here. Otherwise, you can give the coordinates, the right ascension and declination of where you want to look. You can choose your field of view, how large or small of a field of view you want, all the way down to 7.5 arc minutes. So 30 arc minutes is the size of the full moon. So 60 arc minutes would obviously be twice that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I'm just picking a nice wide field of view here. There are other options that you can choose. There's advanced options. You can set your magnitude limit, all kinds of stuff here. Really, really awesome. So I've just sort of arbitrarily chosen a right ascension of 12 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, and a declination of plus 12 degrees, 0 hours, or yeah, plus 12 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Just an arbitrary choice, just to give an example. And you can go plot chart, and it'll make you a chart, which you can then select, and I'm pushing the wrong buttons here, that it works on the same concept. The bigger dots are the brighter stars, and the smaller dots are the fainter stars. And the crosshairs just marks the location of where you set the coordinates to be 12 hours, 0 minutes, 12 seconds, and positive 12 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. So that's another way to make some charts for you. Charts are just maps. It's just a map of the sky. You just have to learn, and it's a personal thing. This kind of thing can't really be taught. You just have to learn for yourself how to translate between what you see on the chart and what you see in the sky. And that takes some practice, for sure, Because a lot of times things on the chart, you're not going to be able to see in the sky. So you can't, that could be a source of confusion for a while. But if you're determined and if you really want to, you'll figure it out. I mean, I did, and I'm just the average guy. So yeah, I'm gonna get my chat back up. I should also look over on my Discord to see if anything is going on over there. Doesn't look like there is. Okay, but I do have a Discord chat as well, and yeah, at some point relatively soon, I want to work on that audio. So maybe this next week, I will call upon your help there, Uncle Bill, to help me with that. I think I just have to use this laptop that I'm using for the live stream to get the audio going on that. So let's see, maybe I will stop sharing my screen and come back over here and stop slouching. And let's see if there's anything else. I'm trying to think. Trying to think if there's anything else with the charts that I should point out? Not, I can't think of anything in particular. Yeah, I can't really think of anything in particular. Now, I have a kitty that wants out of this room. So I'm going to pause just for a moment and let this poor suffering kitty out. Hold on 1 minute. That allows me a chance to say cheers. This is hydrogen hydroxide tonight again. It's my drink of choice for sure. It's nice. So cheers. All right. Well, cool. Some old Audubon field guide editions that were very good. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and I I I can't speak to all of them. Um, I figure that if it gets you looking, if it gets you out under the sky, um, under a dark sky, looking around and stuff, pick your favorite one. I've got mine, but choice is good. So yeah, um, choose your favorite one. That's another great uh, reason to hook up with like an astronomy club, because a lot of times they'll have those kinds of materials on hand, um, so you can look at them and see which ones you like, and you can hear all kinds of different opinions about them, and why someone likes this one and not that one. Uh, and yeah, you can sort of choose your favorite one. Yeah, if you want to learn the sky, that is the best way. You get yourself a map and you start moving around. So that's same thing goes, for learning things on the ground. You get yourself a map and you start moving around. So it works the same way in the sky, for sure, for sure. All right, well, cool. Let's see what else. Okay, yeah, yeah. Um, wow, had Palomar plates. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. Um, because of my proximity to Kitt Peak, and actually the offices are in Tucson. I I was able to hold in my hands and actually use the glass photographic plates from the Palomar Sky survey. Now these were copies, but they were still on glass plates, photographic plates. So that was extremely awesome. I assume that those are still there, but it's been, wow, it's been like 27 years since I've seen those. So I don't know if they're still there or not. So yeah, charts are organized in many ways. One way to do it for sure is to organize it by constellation. The charts that I have are just they're organized by position in the sky. So chart number one will be say at the North Pole, and then it'll just expand from there. Can I show that? These charts, I really like big charts, just because it's so much. You can pack a lot of information in, and not necessarily worry too much about losing anything. But here, I'm just going to hold this up because this is clunky. It's really clunky. But you can see the charts, and you sort of have to read this on the side. But charts 1, 2, and 3 are up at the north, and see, and then it goes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is the next chunk of declination down. And then there's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 that goes across the celestial equator. And then you've got the other ones, or the rest of them, down at the South Pole. So this is 26 charts. Is that what it says? Yeah. So 26 charts. And yeah, as I said, these are sort of my charts of choice, and these are still available, of course. So yeah, I like these a lot. I actually like this is called the desk edition. I actually prefer the field edition, and it's the field edition ones that I have up here on a shelf that I pretty much better not even touch anymore. I mean, I've had them for 37, 38 years, and they are beat up. They are seriously beat up. So yep, big is good. Yeah, for sure. Just throw it on a table out there or on the hood of your car, and you are set to go. And yeah, I've used these when I was observing in this kind of mode. These are the charts I used, and I've been using them for my entire life, and they've worked out really well. All right, well, cool. I'm going to do a quick look on Twitter, see if there's anything astronomical going on. Didn't see anything earlier today. I watched Big J do some coding today on the Cosmo Quest X Twitch stream. That was interesting and frustrating for me, because I could see that he was extremely frustrated, and from one programmer to another, it's hard to see or to watch somebody else being frustrated by things. So hopefully he'll be able to work all that out. He will. I can tell he's a pretty smart dude. So yeah. So let's see if there's anything astronomical happening. Some pretty pictures. As I said at the beginning of this live stream, I don't know why, but I am just wiped out tonight. I'm just totally wiped. Barely keep my eyes open. Even the live stream itself just is not giving me the normal rush. So I'm just worn out tonight. Well, we're coming up to the end of the hour, and for sure I'll do an hour every day. But anything above that is extra, and only done if the need arises, for sure. Which hopefully, as this channel grows, I'm more than happy to be here more than an hour. I definitely respect your time, either if you're watching it now live or in the future. So I don't want to linger too long, but definitely want to pack in the info as much as I possibly can. Don't feel any pressure to pack in too much, but I like to give you as much info as I have. Don't see anything too interesting in the Twitter feed. Let's see. Nope, I really don't. I really don't. Tomorrow is Monday, which means that a new set of articles will be up on the archive.org site. So I'll probably be checking those out as well. I like to keep track of those things. That is the cutting edge, the bleeding edge uh, of all things astronomical in terms of pro stuff. So definitely like to keep on top of those things, and I'll definitely point those out if there's anything interesting that I find in that. All right. Well, I think for today, I'm going to call it a day. Let's see if there's anything else in my Discord server that needs to be brought up. Nope, not seeing anything. So yeah, I think I'm going to exit this planet for now. And in a little less than 23 hours, I will be back. I will be back. Maybe I'll even get some more trolls that I'll be able to ban, or hopefully, offending folks isn't going to happen too often, because that is definitely not the intention here at all. But those kinds of things can't be helped either, and I'm not going to worry about it too much. Um, just I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing here. This is still really new, and it's evolving. It's evolving, and I think it's evolving in an interesting way. Don't know. See how it goes. But as far as I'm concerned, doing this every day at the same time at the same place, super easy, really fun, and that's what it's all about. Is having a bunch of fun, regardless of what level you're at. Just have fun, and let the rest just happen. If you're having fun, then all the other things are also great and fun. So, all right, I'm gonna exit this planet for now. Cheers and peace. And yeah, I will see you again in a little less than 23 hours. 2 hours UTC tomorrow. That'll be the 13th of February at 2 hours UTC. All right, take care, and I will see you later. See ya. Bye.